So guys, welcome to my E3 top 5 picks for 2015. It's come to an end, unfortunately. For those of you who hadn't watched any of it, what you're about to see is some clips, video footage, and my thoughts on top 5 things you should look out for from this E3. Nabbit's doing one as well. If you want to see his video, check out the description below, and check out his video as well. We may have some similar things, but for different reasons, so it's going to be interesting to see what we come up with. For those of you who didn't like E3, if you think it's like a way for AAA developers to try and get you to pre-order games that aren't finished yet, and they don't need this much attention, give to more indie developers and people that are trying to be more creative. This is one of the best E3s we've had in a long time. Lots of twists and turns. Microsoft coming out with some very interesting information. Bethesda's phenomenal performance. And loads of other twists and turns that we did not see coming. So guys, sit back, enjoy my top 5 picks for E3, and hopefully I've inspired you to look out for some games in 2016 as well. Number 5. Yes, you may be surprised to see Uncharted 4 at the bottom of my top 5 picks. Although the games previously 1, 2 and 3 have done such a good job of setting up for the 4th one, the final chapter in Drake's adventures, it's their press conference that I'm really disappointed by for their E3. They had a massive audience, they had people in the audience that played their games, they had new people that had never played Uncharted games before, and had a real opportunity to thrust the charm, the wit, the quality of Uncharted on new people and open up new audiences. Unfortunately, it didn't really blow my mind. The generic car chase down the side of a populated mountain in a city centre, being chased by like a generic ABC trying to blow you apart, not very good at shooting, not very good at driving. It was really saved by the witty banter that's Drake and Sully are so well known for in the series, and I think it could have just done with more. In fact, I think there were plenty of other parts in the game they could have chosen without influencing or impacting on spoilers or storylines that really would have brought out the charm and what sets Uncharted away from the others. Don't get me wrong, I am still extremely excited for this. Like I said before, the first 3 games have done so well to set this up. It's probably one of my most anticipated games of 2016. Unfortunately, because of their press conference, it's why it's so low down on the list. In fact, the sneak peek and even the 10-20 second trailer before E3, when they announced the game, did a little preview, it did more to promote the game's best side. Yes, the car chase looked good, graphically impressive, but what they should have done is gone down to the essence of what Uncharted is, being thrown to far-flung parts of the globe, jungles, undiscovered temples, shipwrecks, pirates, coves, caves. Everything that you really see when you think of Uncharted is treasure hunting, puzzle solving, and exotic locations. And really, for me, the gameplay trailer didn't really do anything to promote that and bring out the game's best side. Don't get me wrong, I've heaped praise time and time again on Uncharted, and especially for the upcoming Uncharted 4. I am still extremely excited for this. I think it's going to be one of the best games of 2016. It's PlayStation exclusive, so it's got a lot riding on it to carry the flag of Sony. So I think they're going to pull out of the bad. Naughty Dog generally do. They're a brilliant games company, and I'm really looking forward to it. But because it's based solely on their E3 conference, I'm going to have to say it's number 5, but still watch out for it. It's going to be quality. I just think they could have done a better job on their press conference. Number 4 on my list, shouldn't really surprise you guys that much if you watch our coffee mornings and if you watch Blue Pancake and myself play our bargain bin games. We've actually done a video on one of the old versions of this game, but it's Star Wars Battlefront 3 is a game that was anticipated going into the PlayStation 3 era. Previously Battlefront 1 and 2 were done on PlayStation 2, and so we're fully expecting when the next generation era in PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 came out, that we were fully expecting a Star Wars game along similar lines of Battlefront. Unfortunately, we never got that, but going into 2015 and maybe a little bit before Christmas, PlayStation 4 came out, next generation Xbox Ones came out, and all of a sudden we started seeing little screenshots, we started seeing game engine footage, we started seeing behind the scenes leaks, and it got everyone really excited because this, of course, it was around the same time that the films were coming out, Disney, the new films for Star Wars, some more Star Wars online games as well. So it was a really interesting time to be a Star Wars fan, for good or for better or for worse, I should say. But Battlefront 3 kept under wraps, and we thought we'd never see anything. And of course, the coffee mornings we were talking about it, but we weren't ready to hedge our bets on what it would play like because there'd been no gameplay footage, only game engine and behind the scenes looks at how the game is looking but no conclusive proof of how it would play and how it would look while you were playing. Of course, games that do that, you shouldn't really get too excited, but you couldn't help it because it's Star Wars. And all of a sudden at E3 2015, they showed us some gameplay footage. And my word, it looked brilliant. Okay, of course they chose an iconic battle, Hoth. You got the Atat Walkers, you got the Imperial forces trying to take over the Rebel base in Hoth, stop the shield generators so they could invade the planet. Now, the battle that ensued was iconic in the films, and in Battlefront 2, it was iconic as well. As you had large open-scale Arctic wastelands trying to take out these Atat Walkers with different weapons, trying to fly planes and your jets and your aircraft around, trying to take them down with those little ropes, and it was a thrilling experience. And now the gameplay we've seen, you can see now, it does everything brilliantly. It has the same sounds, it's got the same feel as if you're in a film, it's got all these iconic characters, and now you've got all these iconic playable species as well, which wasn't seen, that haven't been seen before in previous Battlefront games. So they're really opening this up, they're really giving it all they've got, and iconic battles, iconic vehicles, and even better, this year release, November the 17th is when they're going to be releasing this game. Graphically impressive, sounds just like you're in the films. I honestly can't wait for this. I urge you all to go and pre-order it now. I don't usually advocate pre-orders, I don't like it, but now we've actually seen gameplay footage. Yes, it was heavily scripted, but it was gameplay footage nonetheless. I am extremely excited and happy to see how it's turned out, and I can't wait for this. It's a must-buy, it's a must-play, I should say, for any Star Wars fan. Next on my list, number 3 on my E3 Top Picks 2015 is Horizon Zero Dawn. Why is it on the list, you may ask? Well, it's nice. It's always nice to see, actually, a developer that branches out from a game title that's been running for the last 10 years. That title is, of course, Killzone. What is Horizon Zero Dawn? Well, it's a game set in a post-apocalyptic scenario that, well, it's never really been considered before. Simply, in simple terms, the human species just dies out. Run its course, lived our lives, we've reached the stage of evolution where we're going to get to, and then we just blink out of existence. You know, just a tiny blip on our Earth's long history. And of course, then it's also a really interesting scenario because then they play the thing of the human species then evolving again, going in a complete circle. So now we've got sort of like Neanderthalic sort of Iron Age weapons of like bows, arrows, spears, that sort of time, fur coats, just surviving off the land. But it's not like the times it was before in our Neanderthal ages. No. You've got mechanized creatures that are just roaming freely across the landscape, doing their thing, you know, surviving the same as the humans. But the best thing is, in the preview, there was no history at all. There was no story given away as to why these mechanized creatures were, or even there, or how they came to rule the world. It looks like the gameplay, it's a hunting and survival sort of gameplay. You're hunting these machines, it looks like, for parts, for fluids, for machinery, things like that. And same as the beginning, the weapons continue the same theme, the old with the new. And you know, you've got the bow and arrow there, you've got the grappling hook that tethers the creature to the ground, then you've got the electric arrows, and then you've got the understanding of how to use their own technology against them. That's probably come with training, and it's best described, actually, from what I've seen from other YouTubers and E3 viewers. It's very steampunky, you know, that sort of culture, merging the old with the new, creating their own civilizations, their own cultures, their own communities around this idea of steampunk. And I think the game does a really good job of leaving enough in there to give you that impression, but then leaving enough out that you really, really want to know more. Like, why did all the lights just go out? Why did the human species disappear? How did they disappear? Was it a plague? Was it sort of like what sort of extinction event was it? And it did a really good job of bringing you into their universe, bringing you into their ideas, and saying, look, this is what we're doing, be a part of it. So it's a really interesting concept. It looks like there's a free roaming element, you know, the survival, the hunting, things like that. Maybe you got to look after a community of people, be part of a tribe, and overall there's really, really good impressions. And as a player, as a gamer that's always looking to try new things, to bring you new content, I think a game scenario and a game story like this that's never been seen before will be really interesting, and I'm really intrigued to see more. Coming in at number 2 on my top 5 picks for E3 2015 is a game that Blue Pancake and I have been really hyped for. We've talked about in our coffee mornings, we've talked about it outside of YouTube just to each other, having discussions about what it could be like, what it's going to be like, how it looks. And that, of course, is No Man's Sky. The reason why it's so high up on my list is because it's a game that's got so much potential and so much hype. The E3 before, they just showed the concept of it. This E3, we got actual gameplay. The crowd reaction when he came on stage and started flying his ship and picked his ship and sort of and sort of left the hangar and sort of flew about in space, and it was phenomenal. It was what people have been waiting to see for a while. Much like Star Wars Battlefront, no one really knew what it was going to play like. All this hype around it. It looks beautiful. It looks like really simple controls. It looks like you can deck out your ship with weapons, upgrade your hyperdrive to visit further planets and get further into the universe. The destructive environments, when he landed on the planet, you can approach the planet from any part in space. You don't have to be, it's not a scripted cutscene. You can land anywhere you want on that planet to explore. You can get out of your ship and walk around the planet's surface. He showed us how the environments can be destructive, so you can use, he looked like he had a laser pistol, a laser handgun, started blasting away at the tree and took chunks out of a tree. It was then accosted by some sort of mechanised robot that are there to stop explorers, like he said, from destroying the environment. And you can do that on every single planet from what he said. You can then scan for information. You can find new life forms, you can find new types of plants, and then you can and all sorts of information about the ecosystems of this particular planet. You can then upload it to a hub, which is a computer, which basically means anyone else who flies in and sees your planet and visits it can get all the information from the hub that you've generated from exploring, and then add their own bits that you haven't found yet. So when you go back to visit your planet and check up on it, you can then see who else has visited and see what other information has been uploaded. And then if it's worth looking at, you can probably go and find it for yourself. You can then, once you find a planet, you can name it after yourself, which I think is pretty cool. So when other people fly into the atmosphere, they know exactly who found it. The sense of scale, the video you see on the screen now, every single bit of dot of light is a solar system. Every solar system has its own planets orbiting around it. Every one of those planets you can actually visit. A lot, he said at the end, will not be visited, purely because there is so much and it's procedurally generated, which means they're adding stuff all the time. There's going to be a lot of things that are going to go missing. Maybe planets will blink out of existence that have never been seen before. And it's a real sense of what it's actually like to explore the universe. It's very alone. We are a tiny, insignificant dot in a place that's ever expanding. We are fighting a losing battle, but my word, it's going to be a fun journey to see what we can find and see what planets look like. I mean, I can't wait for this. Much like the universe itself, it's ever expanding and it's got an untapped potential, and I for one can't wait to get my hands on it. And my number 1 pick for E3 2015 is the Bethesda press conference. It comes no surprise, they absolutely nailed it. The people they brought on to talk about their projects and their games, they were passionate, they were funny, they were entertaining, and that came across really, really strongly when they were talking to the audience. And the audience reacted well to everything that came up. Yes, there were a couple of sideshows, the Elder Scrolls Legends, the card game. Yes, a lot of people are saying it's a rip-off of Hearthstone. The Fallout Shelter for your iPhone, you become the overseer of a Fallout Shelter and manage all the aspects of that. Yes, fine, there was a couple of little bits really there to bulk out the press conference, but there were some really interesting announcements. Doom, for example, looked a brilliant modern twist on a classic. We went into a little bit more detail in our E3 special coffee morning description. The links in the description below if you want to hear more about that. Dishonored 2 was announced, and some footage from that looked really, really promising. They're continuing to support the Elder Scrolls Online with a couple of more areas and a couple of bits of DLC, I believe. But what they weren't afraid to do was to talk about Fallout 4 for over half their press conference. That was the ace up their sleeve. You've got to understand, for 6 years plus, there's been no information, no leaks, just 6 to 8 years of absolute silence since Fallout 3. When PlayStation 4 was announced, we were expecting, bang, updates. Not really. It's only been this year and maybe just a little bit before Christmas where we started seeing screenshots, started hearing rumours, started seeing a little bit of the game engine, started hearing developers talking about it. And my god, they wanted to catch up for lost time. They had so much content and so much gameplay they wanted to talk about, which is why I think it lasted so long. But even the boring bits, the guy who was presenting it, you could see he was funny, again, funny, entertaining, passionate about what he was doing. He wanted to show us absolutely everything that they've been working on, and there's been so much stuff that already they've packed into an already anticipated AAA title, and already one of the most hyped up games of 2015-2016, that they had a lot to get through. So I'm going to speed through a few of the things that they actually talked about, just in case you missed it. Customization, characters, you can now become male or female. It's an easy way to customize your character with the facial features, the hair, beard, color, skin, everything like that. There was a really intuitive way and control system of doing that. Weapons, over 700 attachments for your weapons. Not sure how many weapons are going to be in the game, but if Fallout 3 is anything to go by, they've got hundreds. The gameplay, couple of new mechanics talked about. The DOD is useful. It's not a gimmick. It can fetch things, it can attack things, it can aid you. It just with aiming the crosshair and then clicking fetch or attack. Very, very intuitive, very simple to use, very a good mechanic. Seemed like the way to go. Slow motion's back. Didn't see any tweaks to the system, but the audience reacted really well to it, so I might have to watch it again, see if there's anything that has been changed with that. Free roaming, you've got complete freedom to do whatever the hell you want. You can walk away from the main quest or any side quest. Your troubles, you can walk away from your troubles at any point if you just want to explore, get away from it all. More in-depth dialogue options, which is really good. That's where Fallout 3 kind of fell down a little bit. Less black and white, more grey area options as well that may influence things that happen later on in the game. And they've added third person as well as first person mechanics, so you can choose whichever is more comfortable to you. Another interesting and very new and something that I didn't see coming mechanic they added was crafting. You know, in Fallout 3 or games like free roaming games where you collect loads of crap and loads of materials and you end up discarding it or selling it for low money just because it's taking up space in your inventory? Well, with Fallout 4 you don't have to do that anymore. You can actually use those materials to create your own houses, to create walls, create fence posts, create metal sheets of metal that you can then make your own apocalyptic paradise. And it looked really simple to do as well. You can add defences, walls, trading outposts, get people trading and get people to visit your little city, your little town. And then you get attacks from raiders, so you've got to build defences. Or if you're a loner, you can just build a mansion or a ranch somewhere out in the wasteland where you can get away from it all and have your own little bit of paradise. There are so many things they threw into an already brilliant game franchise that I think this is going to be the biggest release of 2015. It said it was going to be out 10th of November, rivaling a day earlier than Call of Duty, really sticking it, saying, we believe in this game, we've added so much for you, we really think this is going to be brilliant, we think you guys are going to enjoy it, we're going to release it alongside Call of Duty. They don't fear the big developers with this. They think it's going to sell really well and it's going to do really well with fans and sit well with them. And from what we've seen, I think they're right. I cannot wait for this. It's going to be an incredible experience, mainly because we've had to wait so long for it, but it's here, it's finally here, it's this year. They're not making us wait saying it's going to come out, oh look, we can see it next year or 2 years. It's going to be this year. I can't wait for it. And the way they presented it in their entire press conference and Fallout 4 announcement, that is why Bethesda have topped my top 5 picks. So guys, that was my top 5 picks for E3 2015. Hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope I've inspired you to look out for some games in 2015, 2016 and maybe guided you in new and different directions to see where you would normally go with games. If you want to see Nabbott's top 5 picks, like I said before, description. If you want to see our E3 coffee morning special with Nabbott and Blue Pancake, click here. And if you want to see a completely entirely random video, one I haven't even discovered what it's going to be yet, click here. And if you want to subscribe to us as well, click here. Cheers guys, thank you so much for watching. Until next time.